What is up, everyone? Welcome to round 2 of the Portland Monthly Premodern Paper Magic Afternoons April 2025 tournament. We got some rad decks to show you, so let's get into those deck lists. First up, we have William on Blue-White Control, aka Landstill. Notably, this is not the Parallax Tide version that did so well at LobsterCon just a short little while ago. This is just pretty much a classic list where your goal is to lock down your opponent with an early standstill and a manland, and just running lots of interaction and disruption. Notably, this list is running a single Enlightened Tutor and a Seal of Cleansing as just a little extra spice. I think that's really the only change from a more traditional list. That Enlightened Tutor does let you go find that Seal of Cleansing, but also the Phyrexian Furnace, Powder Keg, or Humility, which is pretty nice tech. Looking at the rest of the list, we have 4 counter spells, 4 mana leaks, 4 Swords of Plowshares, 2 Wrath of Gods, 1 Disenchant, 4 Impulse, 3 Decree of Justice as one of the win cons of the deck, 4 Standstills as previously mentioned, 3 Fact or Fiction, and a few manlands in 2 Fairy Conclaves and 4 Mishra's Factories, 1 Wasteland, 1 Dust Bowl, 1 Coastal Tower, 4 Darkheart Wastes, 4 Flooded Strands, 5 Islands, and 4 Plains. As for the sideboard, we're looking at the 3rd Wrath of God, copies 2 through 4 of Disenchant, an extra Powder Keg, an extra Phyrexian Furnace, a Tormod's Crypt, 2 Circle of Protection Reds, 3 Blue Elemental Blasts, and 2 Annuls. Just a real classic of the format, a real staple, and just a really hard one for creature-based decks to deal with. So I guess the main question is, what is the opponent playing? Next up is Joe with his revised take on Recycled Elves. If you've been following the channel for a while, you know Joe brings his own brews. He doesn't really look at meta lists or top 8s or any of that sort of thing. He just looks through the available card pool and brews what he thinks looks pretty good. He does also take some influence on, of course, what others are playing against him, which is why his deck choice has slowly been shifting more and more towards red-green Angry Elves. But we're not there yet. It does have a lot of spice in it still. Well, yes, we are playing 2 Survival of the Fittest, and the majority of the good elves, including 2 Carrion Rangers, 4 Fintorn, 4 Llanowar, 4 Priestess Titania, and Honorary Elf Wirewood Symbiote. We're also playing some spice in 4 Killer Bees. The man does love his Killer Bees. A Timberwatch Elf, 2 Well-Wishers, presumably for the burn matchup, a Concordant Crossroads, a Worldly Tutor, a Squee for the before mentioned Survival, 3 Naturalize, 3 Winter Orb, 2 Coat of Arms, 1 Ensnaring Bridge, which notably the Killer Bees can attack underneath, 1 Jester's Cap in the main, very cool, and 4 Recycle. Recycle is a 6-drop, skip your draw phase. Whenever you play a card, draw a card. During your discard phase, choose and discard all but 2 cards. This paired with Survival of the Fittest is actually kind of spicy. I do really like it. As for Lance, looks like he's running 13 Forests, 3 Guy's Cradles, and 1 Yavimaya Hollow. Sideboard, the spice continues. We do have 2 Tranquil Domains, which seems pretty normal. 2 Whirling Dervish. Portland does have a pretty heavy black meta. 2 Crumbles, 2 Nantico Vigilantes, the 4th Naturalize, 2 Carpet of Flowers, 2 Compost, again, lots of people playing black in our meta, 1 Druid Lyrist, and 1 Phyrexian Colossus. Some serious spice happening in this list. I love to see it. I do think it's going to be a bit of a tricky matchup against the deck that is main decking Wrath of Gods and all the creature hate and standstills, but it's going to be a fun match regardless. So without further ado, let's get into those games. And here we go. William is on the left, Joe is on the right. Now, it's been a minute since Joe's been on, and in case you skipped over the deck tech and wonder what the hell he's playing, I do want to reiterate that Joe does his own thing. He brews his own decks, looks at the available card pool, doesn't really look at meta lists, does pick up what people are playing against him, though, and he has played against elves a few times, so I think he's slowly been transitioning his deck towards more of elf typal. It's not quite at, red-green Angry Elves. Obviously having that Recycle and that Coat of Arms in the main, which we are seeing. Coat of Arms is a very interesting card for sure. It does work for both players, I'm pretty sure. So any typal deck he's up against, say Goblins, is also going to make very good use of that Coat of Arms. It looks like William does not like his starting hand. He's going to mulligan. Joe is going to be keeping, though. The old good luck tap. And while Joe does like to brew a lot, it is pretty common for him to be bringing the Killer Bees. It's something he's kind of known for. So I wonder if William's mulliganing in accordance to a creature heavy deck. Alright, we're going to play a Flood Strand. And there's a Fintorn Elves to start us off. All right, and a Dark Hour Waste coming down and pass. Joe must know at this point that William is pretty heavily on some sort of blue-white control list. Could be Parallax or Replenish, could be any number of things, but there's a good chance the first thing he casts will be countered. Alright, there's a Priestess of Titania, which will get mana leaked. We're gonna fetch here and grab an island. Still gonna play out that Guy's Cradle. Tap it for 1, because we do have that Premodern Elves, which is for some reason down with the lands. Alright, yeah, paying 1 for the fetch, and then Joe's go. Okay. Guy's Cradle for turn, tap for the Premodern Elves, make 1 mana. There's Landwar Elf. Say go. Not going to get the huge burst of mana the Priestess of Titania would have given him, but still. Alright, get untap. William more than happy just to play Drago here. And Joe having a few options in hand. I think I saw the Recycle as well. That's not super great until you can get Survival, I think. Alright, we are going to be tapping 4, 5. Coat of Arms. Does he have 2 Coat of Arms? Oh my. Is that going to resolve? It does resolve. Alright, well now I need to actually look up the wording on Coat of Arms because I am a little fuzzy on it. William is just going to play a land and pass. No Wrath of God in response. Alright, so he does have another Coat of Arms. Coat of Arms is a 5-drop artifact. Each creature gets +1/+1 for each other creature on the battlefield that shares at least 1 creature type with it. For example, if 2 Goblin Warriors and a Goblin Shaman was on the battlefield, each gets +2/+2. That's the Oracle text. Alright, there's another Coat of Arms. So that Premodern Elves is now a 3/3? And Joe not swinging in with it is just going to pass. I think William might be a little flooded here. Oh, we're going to Worldly Tutor here. Oh, that will get mana leaked. Alright. But yeah, I think William having a bit too much mana and not enough to do with it. So I think we're getting some Oracle text here from Joe as well. Or an alarm or something. So these are 3/3s, right? So we're swinging for 6. No, we're tapping a bunch of mana. We're going to play Recycle. Okay. Going all out. Notably, Joe has a Naturalize. He can hit his own Recycle if he ever runs out of gas. And land for turn. Oh, is it Recycle whenever you play a card? I thought it was when you cast a card. No, whenever you play a card, draw a card. So land drops count. Okay. I might have missed that before. That is ridiculous. His maximum hand size is 2. But still. Land drops, draw you a card. That's pretty funny. I do have to mention, though, that Joe has missed out on, I believe, 9 damage so far. Granted, he does have a Recycle. That is very problematic if it resolves. Oh, it did resolve because he was able to play land. So, William does have lots of disenchant effects, though. Just 2 in the main currently, but still. Alright, and we'll see if William can respond to Joe essentially getting to do his lock piece. He did put a dice on his deck because he does skip his draw phase. Don't. Yep. Although another land will draw him another card. That's another land. That is unfortunate. Now he can, yeah, he can naturalize his own recycle to draw a card. I don't think that's where you want to be though. All right, we're swinging for 6. And all right, there's a fact or fiction. Humility is pretty good, although it doesn't shut off the coat of arms. There's a Wrath of God and a Swords. Also a Manland and an Impulse, but those aren't as relevant. Really, I think you just put Wrath of God in one and the rest in another. Humility does not turn off the coat of arms effect. You don't really care about the Manland. The Swords is unfortunate for sure, but it's really, does William have enough interaction to deal with these 2 3/3s? Is he putting the Wrath of God and Humility in the same pile? I don't know if that's the call. Because you can go Wrath of God, then Humility follow up, turn off all your mana dorks. Alright, looks like he will take the Wrath of God. Makes sense. Giving him a Humility as well. We are going to untap. And Wrath is going to be hitting the board. Notably, Joe is fully untapped as well. I mean, he only has a land and a naturalize, so Wrath of God, gonna work. And say go. Just one land untapped. Can't draw, but can play a land. There's a Wirewood Symbiote. A little too late. Draw a card off the Wirewood Symbiote. There's a land, can't play it this turn. Again, can naturalize or recycle it. You don't want to do it. But doing it on your opponent's end step, I don't know. I mean, I guess it depends. Like, we know William has the Humility. Do you save? There's a Disenchant. I think you fire off your own naturalize here in response to draw a card. No, actually, that's a bad idea. If it's getting destroyed anyways. Alright, we're going to naturalize to draw a card. Alright, there's a Survival of Fittest. That's a pretty big draw. Yeah, I guess if your opponent's going down a card anyways. There's a Standstill. Okay. Standstilling here is an interesting call. I mean, William is still at 12. I don't know why the dice is still going on there. He does get to draw that card. Yeah, he's fine. Okay, I don't know what that card is. But he's got a land and a survival. If he can go survival, break the standstill, get another Wirewood Symbiote, so each symbiote is a 3/3 again. He's back on track with a 2-turn clock. But he would need a card to pitch. I'm trying to tell if he's got a creature card in hand as well. I think that might be a Landwirls, but I'm not entirely sure. Or is it another survival? No. Okay, with survival. Kraken. The standstill. Ooh, that's a Swords. William does have white mana up. Alright, we're going to pay a green to the survival. Okay, that was a Landwirls. And what are we finding? Oh, in response, Symbiote's getting Swords. It is exiled. He does gain a life. Joe is sitting pretty at 21. That Symbiote is technically exiled, but I don't think Joe... Oh, we're getting the killer bees. Of course. Yeah, that symbiote's exiled, but Joe doesn't really have any recursion in his deck, so I don't think it's super relevant. So it's not a huge deal that gets missed. Alright, so killer bees, pay green, buff it up. He really likes killer bees specifically because it can get under snaring bridge, also because it's something to do with all your mana. We've seen matches where it has actually been very relevant how much you can power it up. So it is a flyer 0/1. Pay green, gets +1/+1 till end of turn. So we're gonna play the killer bees. Killer bees not benefiting from the coat of arms currently. Let's see, how much mana does he have? He has 6 forests and a cradle. So currently that bees is a 7/8 if he spends all the mana. Unless there's a humility, which we did know about. And unfortunately, Joe burning that... Yeah. Joe burning that naturalize on his own card to draw a card. Which I sort of get, but if you knew your opponent has humility, I might have saved it. Alright. Plus side is the bees is now a 1/1 instead of a 0/1. Downside is you can't buff it. So we're just going to be getting in for 1. William on 11 turn clock. All the time in the world for the blue-white control deck. Alright, there's a Seal of Cleansing. Probably just cracking it now. Yep, going to take care of the survival. And how about another Standstill? Here we go. Alright, we're going to get in for 1. Now, notably, William's at 10. Joe is at 21. Alright, there's the Landstill Elves. That'll crack the Standstill. Draw 3. There's another Factor Fiction and a Mischievous Factory, and I think a Swords. Just fantastic draws. Yeah, those are Swords. Alright, there's Mischievous Factory. Now, Humility with Manlands is very weird. When you do animate the Manlands, they do get their power and toughness. However, they lose their other abilities, so the Mischievous Factory... There's a Wrath of God. Okay. That's a pretty good start. And then we are going to have this Mischievous Factory probably getting in for 2, I'd have to imagine. No, just going to pass the turn. So this, to me, says Mana Leak. Or just straight up Counterspell. He's going to lose a life to do that. Drop to 9. But now I think William is feeling very comfortable in this match. His opponent's top decking. He's got a grip full of cards. There's a Winter Orb. Winter Orb is not good in this matchup. No, just going to pass. Not even swinging in with the Factory. Alright, there's a Squee. Notably, Joe's deck cannot play the Squee. Okay, there's a Decree of Justice. I missed that in William's hand before. This explains the pass and not swinging with the Factory. So we're making 4 soldiers. Alright, and suddenly he has a serious clock. Drawing off of the cycle. Yeah, because Decree is a cantrip. It's not busted enough. Alright, we're just going to get in for 4. Not swinging in with any of the Manlands. Actually, wait. Those Coat of Arms. I think that's lethal, right? Coat of Arms buffs each one +4. That's oh no. Each one gets +3, +3, +6, +6. So they're each 7/7. That was lethal. Yeah. Oh my god, that was insane. Okay, so maybe Coat of Arms in this matchup, not the best card. Your opponent getting to make a army of 7/7s, swinging in for lethal out of nowhere. And I think both players underestimated how much damage actually was swinging in there. Unless I just totally misrepresented Coat of Arms. So I'm pretty sure if you have 4 1/1s, they each get +3, +3 for each Coat of Arms. There's 2 Coat of Arms. So that's 7/7s. So 4 7/7s. 28 damage. Ridiculous. Okay, so we're cutting into mulligans here a little bit. William did go to 6, same with Joe. So we have keepable hands. Joe's going to start us off. No mana dork this time, but he's going to play a Kyrian Ranger. He has a Well-Wisher and a Killer Bees and another Kyrian Ranger. So no mana dorks. I think he's got a second land too. It's a little tough to tell. Alright, Floodstrand, go. Okay. We have a Carpet of Flowers. Are we just going to play it out? Looks like it. Okay, so he does not have a second land in hand. But he can bounce the forest. Play it for turn. And are we playing on another Kyrian Ranger? Oh, okay, I do it. I see what he's doing. He's attacking first to untap his Kyrian Ranger. Yeah. Alright, William just gonna go to his turn. He's not gonna fetch. I'm be hesitant about playing out islands. It does ramp Joe. I'm just gonna pass. Joe will get 1 mana for the 1 island in play currently. Now, he has still missed a land drop, it looks like. Alright, we're gonna go to combat first. Swing for 2. That mana is no longer in the pool, just FYI. Joe, I think, realizing that, maybe deciding he wanted to do something with it. I mean, we're pretty lenient here, so William might be letting him walk him back. Joe being able to untap these Kyrian Rangers is not super relevant. Okay, we're gonna untap the Kyrian Ranger to bounce the forest, play the forest. Alright, maybe so that Kyrian Ranger should be technically tapped. Oh, sorry, Oracle text. At the beginning of each of your main phases. So this is technically correct. If you haven't added mana with this ability this turn, you may. So Joe opting to add the mana from Carpet of Flowers in the second main phase. I did not actually know you could do that. So Oracle text coming in clutch. I don't know which one of them knew that or caught that, but very cool. Like I said, Joe does like to brew with the available card pool and probably knows some of the more niche interactions better than most Premodern players. Okay, so we're going to impulse here in the end step. Finds a card he likes. And these just go on the bottom. Notably, I believe the old impulse says you shuffle your deck, potentially. You don't actually. Alright, there's a Coastal Tower for turn. And how about a Powder Keg? Seems good. Alright, untap for turn. There's Survival of the Fittest. And a Priesthood Titania. Now, he does finally have a mana dork. Okay, are we adding mana in this main phase or the second? I think you maybe go to combat first. I mean, that Powder Keg's pretty deadly. You know you're going to lose all your 1/1s. More than likely. Powder Keg will not be able to kill the Carpet of Flowers. It can only hit artifacts and creatures, but... Alright, second main. It only makes 1 mana. Coastal Tower is not an island. So, it may make blue mana, but it is not an island. I don't think it really matters. He could have bounced the forest to play it. Done a lot of shenanigans there. We're just gonna let it slide. Alright, there's a Mishra's Factory. Also, I don't want to gloss over the fact that Joe tapped his Well-Wisher to gain 5 life at 25. I'm going to pop the keg now at 1. Going to take care of all the Carrion Rangers and the Mana Dork. If you wanted to, you could have bounced the Forest to untap the Well-Wisher to gain more life. Looks like that's what he wants to do, potentially. So gain another 5. I don't think William cares too much about that. Once he locks down the board with his standstills and lots of 1/1s, there's not really a life total beyond infinite that he really cares about too much. Okay, so there's a forest. Joe drawing his second one finally. Alright, and correctly now having the 1 mana. Okay, we're going to play a forest for turn. Tap for 2. Oh, using the 1 mana from Carper Flowers. That will get mana leaked. And I guess Joe can just get in for 1. I mean, it's not actually, that would be a horrible idea with the Mishra's Factory. No, don't do it, Joe. Don't do it. No, tap in for 2. Alright, gain 2 life. Okay. We are seeing the one of Enlightened Tutor be relevant. Are we getting another Powder Keg? Or a weakness? Or humility, sorry, not weakness. Yeah, okay, we are going to go get the humility. Joe does have a lot of main deck answers to this. 3 naturalizes. I wonder if he brought in the 4th after seeing humility from game 1. Alright, then are we doing something before? No, William just puts it on top, draws it for turn. Land for turn. There's the humility. Notably, William's been pretty lucky with the lack of islands that he's drawn this game. Like, Carper Flower is not doing much. Now, before Joe plays that forest, he does technically have to decide if he's making that 1 mana from Carpet Flowers. Alright, we're just swinging in for 2. Mishra's Factory got tapped out. Yeah, 2 for another Priest of Titania. Say go. Again, with that humility out, none of these creatures doing anything but being a couple of 1/1s. However, it is a clock. Alright, there's another 1/1. Do you play out the survival? No, we're going to swing in for 3 first. William down to 10 again. Play out if in Ornells. We'll have to tap a mana to actually cast that, but I think it's fine. You know, Joe doesn't have instant interaction in hand. Maybe a little frustrated. Alright, we're going to see a Fact of Fiction. Standstill, Counterspell, Dark Waste, Impulse, and Dust Bowl. Definitely not as impactful as the last Fact of Fiction last turn, or last game. So, let's see here. I think... Oh, this is kind of actually tough. Dust Bowl seems very good. I don't think you want your opponent to have Dust Bowl. Standstill also seems pretty good. The fact that if William gets low enough, and he's approaching that point where... Ooh, are we? I don't agree with that. Yeah, that 2/2 can chump block for a few turns, but Joe is a creature-based deck. He will eventually flood the board with enough 1/1s to be relevant. Okay, we're doing Standstill and Counterspell in 1, Impulse, a Dark Waste, and Dust Bowl in the other. I think that's pretty good. Okay, we're gonna take the Dust Bowl. Yeah, the Dust Bowl is just super relevant with Joe not having any Mad Orcs and only having drawn 2 lands. Okay, and we're also gonna Impulse on Instep as well. Right, another counter spell. Another man land. I don't know what the other 2 cards are. Looks like maybe a Disenchant. I don't think the mana the Carpet of Flowers is making is relevant right now. Again, it's still only making 1. William actually does not have a lot of basic islands in his deck. I think it's only like 4 or 5. Carpet maybe being reserved more for Dreadnought, like Mono Blue Dreadnought. Alright, just gonna play the Fairy Conclave and pass. Notably, does have Mishra's Factory up. There's a Gaia's Cradle. Joe having all the mana in the world. Okay, we're gonna go to combat and just swing in. Now, is this a calculated risk because Joe just needs to be dealing damage, or did he forget about the Mishra's Factory? That's... yeah. Might as well block one of the Priest of Titania's. Just, it's a better Fintorn Elves. There's no reason not to. Okay, gonna use that mana from Carpet Flowers in the main phase. Okay, we're gonna Impulse, tapping the animated factory to do so. I don't... yeah. If it's a... is it still a land? It would lose the ability, right? That one I actually don't know. I know it remains a 2/2, but I think it loses all their abilities. I'm not sure it's still a land. I'm also not sure it matters. But I think we're getting some assistance here. We don't have a judge on staff. We have one of the TOs who did practice to be a judge or train or whatever, but officially no. Okay, there's the mana leak. We still had 1 land up anyways. It ends up not mattering. Alright, land for turn, pass to you. To be fair, I'm not sure what Joe could survival for with Humility in play to be relevant. The Vigilantes, if you brought them in, don't work. There's another Dark Art Waste. And a pass. Vermilion can very content to sit back. Oh, we brought in the Phyrexian Colossus. You know what is not good against Humility? That's unfortunate. The Phyrexian Colossus is super spicy. I wonder why Joe actually has that in the deck at all, let alone in the side. For those of you not familiar, it is a 7/7, 8/8. It does not untap during your untap step. Pay 8 life to untap it. It can't be blocked by 3 or more creatures. Maybe in an artifact deck, I could see it potentially being relevant. Again, I'm sure the comment section has corrected me if I'm wrong about this, but even if he animates the Fairy Conclave, it's just a 2/1. It doesn't have flying, thanks to Humility. If I am remembering how the layers are actually working. Like, it retains its extra power. That's one of the reasons why Mishra's Factory is so good with Humility, but it doesn't have any other keywords or anything on it. Alright, there's a Factor Fiction. Is this the main phase, Factor Fiction? I think so. Unless I missed the pass from Joe. Okay, well. You got 2 islands, 3 swords. So, probably no matter what, William's getting his swords. I mean, just, yeah. I don't know what you do. Like, he's probably getting 2 swords no matter what. So, knowing that, yeah, do you want the 2 swords or the 2 islands and a sword? Gonna take the 2 swords. Easy choice. Yep. Makes sense. And is that a standstill? Alright, we're gonna swords here. 1 more swords. Is gonna take a point of damage to do that. Drop to 6. And then going to William's turn. Okay, so that was on Joe's turn. Joe just didn't even bother to swing in with the Mishra's Factory. Alright, there's another swords. Okay, is that all 4 swords? At this point? I think so. I think one of the Factory Fictions had another one. Unless I'm misremembering. Alright, we're gonna get it with the Mishra's Factory and the Fairies Conclave. 4 damage coming in. And this is kind of what I was talking about with... Okay, we're gonna fetch. Going to 5. Grabbing a Plains. That is actually interesting. Instead of grabbing an island, because now you still... Oh no, the Coastal Tower, duh. Okay. Plays out a standstill. And this is the point where the Landstill deck has full control. William doesn't have any cards in hand. Right, there's a Priest of Titania. He's going to break the standstill. Still on the stack. William can counter it if you want. No, he doesn't have 2 blue up. Alright, so that will resolve. Draw for turn. Really just hoping to find a Decree of Justice. There's a Wrath of God and a counterspell in hand. He can swing in with the Fairy Conclave if he wants, or is he just going all out? Okay, we're going all out. Take 4. And Joe's massive life total slowly getting whittled away here. Alright, there's a Seal Cleansing. And just going to crack it now on the Carpet Flowers, just in case it's relevant. It's probably not, but you never know. Especially with this other forest coming down. And Joe is going to pass. He did have an opening there to swing in for a point of damage. Alright, Wasteland on the Cradle. Swing in for another 4. Yeah, with both players racing, if Joe starts swinging, William will have to leave the factory back, probably. Oh, well, there's another Cradle just in time. Alright, Joe is going to start swinging for 1. Applying the pressure a little bit here. William is very dangerously close. Does not... Oh, well, there's another Mishra's Factory. So that is probably just the nail in the coffin. Alright, go swing in. Another 4. Pass to you. Now Joe is down below 19. There's a Concordant Crossroads. Not relevant. Alright, factory gonna block. I think Joe may have missed the factory coming in. Untap. And now William is free to deal 6 damage this turn. With Wrath of God still back up. And a counterspell. Alright, swinging for 6. Down to 13. 3-turn clock. There's a Winter Orb. That actually is pretty relevant here. Joe not playing it out though. He would be met with the counterspell, but still being able to make your manlands untap super slowly could buy Joe enough time potentially. But I think Joe at this point is resigned to losing. There's also a Snaring Bridge. The Snaring Bridge not super relevant. He can't play out his cards. He does have a few high cost ones. Right, there's a Snaring Bridge which will be met with a counterspell. And if Joe had played out the Winter Orb last turn, he might have actually resolved this in Snaring Bridge and had 2 cards left in hand. I mean, still not relevant. Yeah, there's... Oh, that is the 7th point of damage that William needed. So I believe this is game. Swing for 7. GG. Yep. William takes it down in 2. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Unfortunately, the brew not quite getting there, but the Landstill deck showing why it's one of the best decks of the format, even if you don't have Parallax Tide. Thanks to all you guys for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. It is the best way to support the channel. Commenting below is also a great way to engage with the channel, let YouTube know that you watched all the way to the end, and let more people know that they probably should check out this video. If you want to support the channel financially, there is a Patreon link in the video description below. That money goes towards travel expenses, upgrading gear, and just making more Premodern videos. Thanks to all our current Patreon supporters. You are amazing. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.